Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined with another Ice Wars edition. We have Catlin, the Chief Big Snake. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm great. We got the big snake and the big gator. You know what I mean? Two reptile guys.
Oh yeah, oh yes. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Are you a
Yeah.
snake? Do you like the snakes yourself?
To be honest, if I have eyes on them, just like my fighting, if I have eyes on them, then we're good. But if I don't have eyes, then we're definitely be jumping around and trying to figure something out quick.
You were one of the guys I wanted to talk to. You're a veteran. Like so many of us, we don't know. Like I've seen some Ice Wars on. Like I haven't watched the full event, but I've seen some of the fights, and you know a little bit about what's going on. But you're a veteran. Can you kind of tell us what to expect?
You know what? When I first took it up, I was I just love fighting. I was always a protector for the team, and I thought, maybe this is something I could do, and it looked fun. And I got a call from Nasty Marasty, and he told me, "Hey, would you like to join?" And I was like, "You know what? Give me a couple seconds." Then he called my brothers, so I ended up calling them, and I got into it, and right away I had these thoughts of it's a hockey fight. It's a hockey fight. It's hockey. Let's go in there and let's go bang. I did it for 20 years now, and I thought it was going to be like that, and when it came down to it, it was nothing like it, and I'm like, damn, okay, well, I'm here. Let's roll, let's do this. And, you know, I probably have over 100 fights, and
Wow.
I could literally count with both hands of how many times I've been hit. Like I don't really get hit much just because I tuck in and I move my head and I like to spin. But I couldn't do that in Ice Wars. It was a lot different. But I mean, this time around, like I know exactly what I'm going to, and fight training's been like amazing. I'm excited for this.
I was gonna say, looking at you, you don't got the big broken nose. I don't see a bunch of scars on your face. You don't look like someone who's been in 100 fights.
Yeah. Actually, well, I got that native bloodline, and I don't really bust up. I can't remember if I even had a black eye in my life because I just never really got injured in that type of way, right? And so I have tough skin, and I do got a few scars, and nose been kicked a few times, been punched a few times, and then my hands are absolutely like I have scars all over them, and like so one of my knuckles are like twice the size, and it's meant for bare knuckle. I'll tell you that.
As a hockey fighter and somebody who has to take care of his hands all the time, what kind of conditioning, what kind of special treatment do you do for your hands?
You know what? I don't really do much rather than just chill out. Like I don't really like the last fights there in the Ice Wars. My hands were done for like we'll say about a month, right? But every regular fights that twists up in the jerseys, and you know you don't really feel it at the time, but when it's done, then all of a sudden your hands are facing different directions, and you're like, damn. And I mean, to be honest, that really doesn't. Your adrenaline's going so crazy, man. You could pop that shit back in place, and you're good, and then you start flexing around. But I mean, to be honest, I don't really have. I just, to be honest, I put myself in that position, so I got to deal with it.
Are you somebody who is just naturally tough? Did you grow up boxing? Did you grow up doing MMA? Like any sort of that stuff?
I had an older brother, and he was um, very skilled. He actually tried out with the Detroit Red Wings, New York Rangers. He signed with the Atlanta Thrashers, Robin Big Snake, and he
Okay.
was a skilled guy, but he was like the full package. It doesn't matter if you had the biggest, toughest guy on the team. My brothers will show up, and that kind of gave me that inspiration that I need to be a tough guy and follow his footsteps. But I mean, to be honest, I was always big. I was 6'3" at 13.
Jeez.
Um, I we had a senior hockey team here called the Six Got Buffaloes, and one night I played, and I wasn't too bad of a hockey player too, right? Maybe because nobody wanted to go near me because I was huge, but I would pot goals. And one day I finished my bantam hockey game. I think it was bantam or my first year midgets. And right after the game, I looked at my buddies. Yeah, I was definitely 14 because I had my learners because I was driving. And I told my buddies, "You guys want to watch the Buffaloes?" And they're like, "Sure." So we jumped in the car and we took off to Loman, and we parked. We're chilling. Let's go check out the boys. And I was always welcome in the dressing room, right? I was always that kid that was always in the dressing rooms and stuff. And anyway, so I go in, walk in the dressing room, and I only see 3 bags and 3 guys, and I'm like, "Where's everybody?" And they're like, "I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna have enough." And I was like, "Well, I got my bag." And I think I was 14 or 15. I can't really remember. And they're like, "Yeah, you wanna play?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I went to go grab my gear, and when I came back in, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna put you down under one of my late brothers, Cassidy Saddleback. Put me under his name. Said you could play." I ended up playing, and we ended up getting beat like 8-1. But I scored the only goal, and I was trying to fight one of their guys like my same
Yeah.
size, and I was just a kid. And when I threw my gloves off and I grabbed a guy, another guy behind me grabs me, and like there's not too often where I turn around and I look at somebody's chest. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's big. So I snapped up. I was just a kid. I remember he tried to grab and throw me around. I ended up hitting him like 4 or 5 times, and he was going down. And I got excited. And this is like one of my first fights, like especially in men's senior hockey where they're all anywhere from 20 to 40 years old. And I ended up
Sure.
switching to a left. And when I switched to the left, he pulled my shoulder pads right off of me and locked up my arms. And he ended up pulling me around, and I ended up grabbing his jersey and flipping him over me. And so we went down. But like I was just a kid, and since that day, I've never wore shoulder pads. I've never wore shoulder pads. I played my whole midget hockey, no shoulder pads. I went to juniors. When I was playing in BC, they used to fine me like $30 a game because I didn't have shoulder pads on. And I signed my first pro contract this year with Monroe Moccasins in the Fed, and I didn't wear shoulder pads. And everybody's like, "Man, you're crazy." I'm like, "Man, if I get into a fight and they lock up my hands, you know how that's gonna eat me up by the end of the night?" Be like, "Why did I put shoulder pads on?" Like, I don't know, but that's my little
That is
story.
interesting. Yeah, I saw a photo of you, and you didn't have shoulder pads. You were just wearing a jersey on the ice, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I didn't realize. Yeah, I thought, well, maybe it was after the game or before the game, but no, that's a very interesting story.
Yeah, yeah. So that's reason why you'll never see me in shoulder pads. Actually, when I went to Ice Wars 3, we walk in and everybody's getting dressed, and we had I guess, our rule guy that was telling the rules, and he's like, "You guys need all your equipment. You guys can't leave anything off." And he mentioned shoulder pads, and I looked at him. I was like, "Man, I haven't had shoulder pads since I was 14. I don't know. What do I do? Do I just have to disqualify the fight because I don't have shoulder pads? Because I don't do it." And I'm pretty sure Hughes ended up going out with shoulder pads that one because usually he wears shoulder pads, but I think he wore them that time because he's seen me not have them. But I mean, I guess those are just the stories that made me who I am today. Like sitting in pro hockey wearing no shouldies. I don't think I heard that for a while here. It's not old time hockey like that.
So going into this fight, will we see you in shoulder pads, or again, you're saying no?
You'll
No.
never see pads game.
Okay, I'm actually a little disappointed that BKFC Ice Wars has been kind of announcing some of the fights. I was hoping they were going to announce your fight. Do you know who you're going to fight? I know you can't tell us, but since they haven't announced it officially yet, but do you know who you're fighting?
I have a pretty good idea.
Okay. Are you is it a fun fight for you? Like, I mean, like tell us as much as you can, I suppose.
You know what? The way I'm seeing it as is I'll never take an opponent lightly. I'll never take an opponent lightly. But this one, there's no holding back. Last time I fought, I had to do a tournament, so I had to pace
Sure.
myself. This time, I don't know, to be honest, like I'm excited for this one, and I feel like I'm gonna put on a good show. There's a lot of stuff that I worked on this time that I had no clue about because I didn't know what I was going to, but now I know exactly what I'm going to, what I need to work on, what I need to do. Because before when I fought, it was just straight up bang, 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 you know, anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds long, and it's
Sure.
over. And now it's like, I'm in a show, so I got to put on a show. And me and my brothers, my training team there, I was like, you know what, I got to rethink this because I'm not there just to go beat somebody up because I'm getting paid for it, but because in the tourneys that I play, in the hockey I play now, that's how it is, right? I get paid to go beat up people, and
Sure.
this is a lot different. This is like, to be honest with you, this is like a legacy. This is something I want to leave back for my boys. To have two awesome boys, Houston Big Snake and Tula Big Snake, and I have a beautiful wife, Desiree Big Snake, and everything I do, I want to make sure I do it for them because I want to kind of rock this world in my own way. And everybody comes to me and be like, there's only one person that could do this, and it's you. Like, it's almost like you're built for it. And I don't know if I'm built for it, but I know I'm pretty crazy to do this kind of shit.
We're going to be seeing some crossover. There's a BKFC guy, a kid that's fighting on this. There's a former UFC guy who's going to be fighting. Do you have any interest in doing the bare knuckle? I don't know if you ever watched any of the bare knuckle, the BKFC fights, but does that interest you? Like, like taking the jerseys off and not wearing a jersey and just chucking some bare knuckles at another gentleman.
I Charlie Nama actually invited me and my team to go watch the bare knuckle in Enoch, and we were there with like Morasti and Mike Kennedy, the camera guy there.
Yeah.
He Yeah, so we went to the fights, and I was so pumped, and I was telling my brothers, I was like, I think I could do this shit. And they're like, nah, bro, stick. You give us enough stress doing the Ice Wars thing. I don't know if we could sit through this one. But to be honest, I know a couple tough customers that I believe pretty soon you'll be seeing them enter in the BKFC. Uh, I see them running it. They're tough guys, and we train all the time, and they got to train with me, right? So
Sure.
it's pretty cool. They learn things, just like myself. Like every day's learning. Like right now, I've been going for a month, twice a day, training. Like, and everything's from strength to cardio to combinations. Like, just working on everything this time. Just because I know exactly what I'm going through this time, and man, I can tell you one thing, it's getting pretty exciting.
So, like you said, your last one was a round robin tournament. This one, they changed the rules. There's no more tournaments. It's just single fights. I guess it's up to 3 1-minute rounds. Can you talk about the training specifically? I mean, 3 1-minute rounds doesn't sound like a lot, but you're also chucking punches the whole time. And now that you are a veteran and you know like the cardio you need and you know the skill set you need, can you tell us how much better this training camp is going for you?
This training camp's been like absolutely amazing. Like I said, every time we get into the gym, there's new things we're coming up with, and not only that, like, no disrespect to Hughes, but he can't stand on his feet, right? So, damn, I think I might have dropped something. So I'm expecting to stand a little better. All right,
Okay.
or stop.
It's interesting because I talked to Diamond Hens, yeah, Amesbury the other day, and he was saying kind of the same thing as you. He's like, once I did it, being able to go back and know, like, oh, this will help me in the training, like, in coming up with your own little training exercises and just being able to critique stuff and specifically for the Ice Wars, he said has been a real. I know he's not on this card, but he said, like it's helped him a lot in his fighting overall.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel him 100%, and even just on the ice, like you look at the way people fight, and it's like damn, I'm gonna hurt this kid, I'm gonna crush him right now. Like, and then you like, to be honest, like, I tend to take it easy. I'll let him hit me, let him
Sure.
hit, and but then I'll turn on and it's game over. But I mean, it's definitely, training this is definitely been life changing for myself. Like, I was pretty unhealthy before my first fight, and I'm survived. I even got through 2 fights. Not only that, did the extra round of Tebow, and like, I don't know. When I got the call, I was 360 pounds.
Jeez.
I started training. I started punching, and I was embarrassed. I was legit embarrassed, thinking like, "Damn, what am I doing? Like, why do I take the job as the tough guy? Like, shit. If anybody knew that I punched like this, or I got tired after 5 punches, like, they're gonna kick the shit out of me." And right there, like, I really thank my team, because they're like, "Well, you got days to train now. Like, why not put in the work now?" And what? Nobody even wants to hold pads for me anymore. Nobody wants to hold pads for me anymore. And they have those little Muay Thai
Sure.
paddles, the ping pong paddles thing. We're using those now, and I have a guy named Bob that I go punch around once in a while. And it's because everybody's like, "Damn, Cat, like, whatever you're doing, keep it up, because right now you're scary. Nobody wants to even hold the pads for you." My little brother will. My little brother will have no question. He'll he'll let me punch his arms out of his socket, and he'll be like, good on, bro," and go around the corner and be like, fuck, fuck, fuck.
A lot of the bare knuckle guys have switched to using the pool noodles just because, like, you bare knuckle fighters, you guys who punch, you do have such power, and it's like all in that little bit of area. So they've switched to the pool noodles. They've even got away from those Thai pads just because it's a little safer on the wrists and stuff for the people holding the pads.
Sure, like my knuckles are finally healed. Like, I ripped the shit out of my skin. Like, I was thinking, like, I need to fucking make these tough.
Sure.
And I end up yeah, I end up like, you know what? I need to wear gloves. Like, if my hands ain't healed up by fight night, then that's, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe it won't affect me. Maybe it will, but I'm healed up now, and I've been throwing hands, man, we'll say 4 hours a day. I mean, I was training for a long fight. I was
Yeah.
training for a long fight because I got the rules and I went through them, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm going to be going through 5 rounds, and they gave me a specific time. And I was like, this is a lot different, but then I kind of got told different now. And I'm like, shit, man, I think I'm more than ready right now. Like, shit, yesterday, I think I did over 10 rounds, and like, all of them were just straight smashing for 3 minutes each. And, it's crazy because my face doesn't look too bad, but
No.
I found the boys. I was like, I don't care. Just, I need to get into this. Get me going. Let's go. This is crunch time. We got 2 weeks today till fight night, and I got 1 week of intense shit, and take a week off somewhat. I'll do a lot of shadow boxing and pad
Sure.
work, but it'll be an easy week next week.
Okay, so you're a tough guy. You love hockey. Growing up, who was your favorite enforcer?
My favorite enforcer, it'll have to be my brother Robin.
Okay.
I fight a lot of tough guys, but then you step up into the NHL, it'll be Sandy McCarthy. I
Okay.
always Sandy McCarthy, and oh, can't remember his first name, but Oliwa. These are big boys that I really enjoyed watching them. And then when it got younger, there's like Jordan Tutu and Michael Furlan. Like, those are my boys. Those are boys like me, and
Yeah.
they had dreams and goals to chase, and I had dreams and goals to chase, and I'm pretty happy to say that I reached another dream here with Ice Wars, and it's been amazing. at first I was very hesitant, not only or not because like I didn't want to do it or anything about it. It was because I actually promised my mom and dad I wouldn't do it again. But I twist the arm a little bit, and mom was like, "Okay, well, let's get serious then." You know,
Awesome.
dad, dad was still a little bit like, "No, no," but now he's like, I just went to a big native hockey tournament just recently, and he's like, "Are you gonna tape your wrists?" And I looked at him like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're gonna tape your wrists when you go out there. I think a lot of people are gonna try to challenge you." And I was like, "Dad, no one's gonna try to fight me." He's like, "Well, just tape your wrists for me. I want you to be healthy for the fights." And I was like, "Damn, thanks, Dad. Respect that." Now I knew I had my dad behind me.
Okay, so let's talk about this. It's United States versus Canada, which is a big deal. But also, you're a native guy. You got all that native pride. So what's it like? I mean, you represent for the natives and all the Canadians and stuff. But like I said, I know, like representing for the natives got to be like probably the most important, right?
Yes, for sure, for sure. I gotta represent my people, and it doesn't even matter what I did in life and what I do in life. I always gotta have that in the back of my head was I'm representing not only my name, but I'm representing my people because we get a lot, we get the shit end of the stick. We'll just say, and I lived it, I went through it, but that didn't knock me down. That made me stronger, and and that's where I go back where uh, I'm fighting for my people, and my first fight there, I said it was, I want to give something for my people to look forward to give them something positive, and you know, pretty sure I brought that because I get a lot of love right now.
Is it? I mean, like I said, when you show up to these, you talk about going to the native tournament and stuff, but I'm sure when you have your clan get-togethers and stuff, people come out of their way to make sure they shake your hand because they see all the good that you're doing and the positive light you're putting on everything.
Always, and I'll never take that for granted. It's my mom or my wife always jokes and says you should run for chief and council. That's the leadership on our nations, and I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool because anywhere I go, I'm surrounded by people, and it's not always about fighting.
Sure.
To be honest, a lot of people come to me for everything, right? And some people need to talk, and I just tell them like, man, life's just about you. You got to think about it. No one's gonna do you but you, and you know it's everybody goes through it. You know what I mean?
One of my favorite thing about talking to you hockey guys, I interview a lot of people, and a lot of them are like even kill, level-headed guys. But I love that I was talking to you beforehand, and you're like, yeah, I was out, doing farm stuff. We were like branding cattle and stuff. I love that you're all about community and helping out, and like just being a good person.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I like I said, I'll never take that stuff for granted. Like today I went Brandon down in Begunny, and I represent Begunny and slow pitch, and my one of my best brothers, Colton Yellowhorn, he's a hockey player there too, and he asked me, he's like, "Bro, you gotta come down, right?" And and when somebody asks me to go, I do my best to show up. Especially with hockey. Um, I I went through it with hockey, and when somebody tells me like, "Hey, Cat, I play at 5 o'clock today. Which rink?" I'll show up.
Sure.
Last year, this past hockey season, I think every weekend I'd hit up anywhere from 6 to 12 rinks a weekend. And I'm watching these kids all day, and they're anywhere from little guys that are falling all over the ice to senior hockey. Like even watching my brother Trigby Miniguns on TV. When he was with Monroe Mogguson's with me there. I always make sure I put the TV on and had it on my phone to, just to show that support. I always felt that when I told myself, I was like, when I'm done slowing down in hockey, I'm gonna make sure I'm there watching whoever asked me to come, because I remember seeing my family in the stands, and those were my best games, you know. And I don't know, brings back a lot of memories.
What is a better feeling? That one punch knockoff, you drop the guy, it's a clear cut victory for you, or scoring that game winning goal?
Dan, that's kind of a tough one because I would love to score the game-winning goal.
Right?
Yeah, but the one knockout, I mean, kind of get used to that, and it kind of gets old news. You know what I mean? So we'll go with the game-winning goal. Say,
I've talked to some of the other players and they said it's kind of curse. If you're a big guy, you're determined, like, oh, you're a big guy, you're going to be a fighter. And a lot of you guys love, hey, look, you love flying up and down the ice and scoring and passing and stuff like that. Is it unfortunate that you're a big guy that you have to do the fighting? Would you rather be doing a little, showing off some of your stick handling, or like it is what it is and you're happy with your role?
you know what? Going like, damn, I could go anywhere with this one. Um, like I said, I know a lot of hockey players, right? And like from natives to whites to blacks, like all of them, like the hockey community is so small, and some of these guys are the same size as me, if not bigger, but they're
Right.
skilled guys, right? And for myself, I think it was just like in the blood. It was just more like, I don't know, it's just, I guess, my background that I don't let anybody mess around with my team. I ain't the type to go out there and go two-handed guy. I ain't there to go sucker anybody. Like, I could have done that so many times, and to me, I just don't see that as being a tough guy. Like, I just go there and tell them, like, we going or we not, and most times it's no. But I mean, I tell them now I'm in their head already. But
Right.
like, if I sucker them, I get a penalty. That's gonna put momentum for them. So it didn't really make sense to me why I see, like, I call them idiots go on the ice, right? And I mean, when I went down to the Fed, I seen Justin Portello, and I wanted to sucker him so bad. I was like, I can't do that though. Like, that's not me. Like, get that out of your head. Get that out of your head. And when I talked to him, because everybody talked him up. Everybody talked. Even my own team was talking. I'm like, Justin Portello's not going to go me. Oh, he's tough. He's tough. I was like, all right, let's see. Anyways, he jumps on the ice, and right away he's barking at me. He's barking at me, and I'm looking at him like, you don't gotta yell, man. Just come talk to me. We just gotta talk. And he wouldn't come near me. And in the Fed, you could get off the ice early for in warmies, right?
Okay.
So up staying on the ice and skating around, and he must have thought I got off. And he went to the middle, and he was stretching out center ice where I was stretching out when he first came out. And I went straight to him, and he was like, he seen a ghost. Like, his face dropped. And I was like, I heard you're the big bad dog in the league. And he says, what? I says, you heard me. And he says, no. I was like, you're a big bad dog or not? And he's like, no. I was like, so am I? Yep. I was like, so you're gonna, I said, I heard you're an idiot. I said, if you're gonna act like an idiot, let's go. Like, right off the hop, right off the puck drop, we're going. And he says, Big Snake, I ain't gonna be an idiot. I'm playing hockey today. And I was like, all right.
It sounds like you're one of those guys that the code is really important. I've been hearing more and more about the code and the unwritten rules and the and I think it's great that there is like that. It is a gentleman thing. Like, look, you're getting ready to go out there and throw punches with the guy. It's cool if you could have that where it's agreed upon. And like you said, you don't go out and take a two-hand chop on a guy and sucker punch somebody. I think it's really excellent of you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know. Like, I always go back to this native hockey, and this native hockey is one of the toughest. And we have guys out there like my very first native hockey tournament. I showed up, and I get paid good money to go to these places to look after their goal scorers. I show up, they pay me, so I'm like, all right, I got my job to do. I go up in the stands to go take my stick, and nobody's on the ice. And I watch Ashley. You know Ashley Langdon? You probably don't. He was a tough
No.
guy though. He got out to Edmonton Oilers, a few NHL teams, but he was a tough guy. I watched him fly out of the tunnel onto the ice and just start ripping laps on the ice. And I'm looking at this guy like, who's this? Like, and to be honest, he looked like a skilled guy the way he was skating. And then all of a sudden, he fixes it. He grabs his net and he brings it to the crease and he fixes it. And he rushes back to the middle, grabs the other net, and he puts it beside him in the middle. And then that other team starts coming out on the ice and he goes right to their tunnel and he starts slashing the shit out of all of them who was coming out of the
Jeez.
tunnel. And all these guys are like, what the hell? And then he looks back and he sees one of the guys grabbing the net. He goes over there, body checks that one kid and pushes the net back beside him and stands like a baseball player waiting for the next guy to come try to grab the net. The kid comes to grab it. He breaks his stick over him. And by then, his team goes and is like, hey, come on, let him warm up. Like they need their net.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, holy shit, I got to deal with this guy. Well, I got to pay big bucks to do that, I guess. But no, I never did that. But that was actually kind of cool.
All right. So let me ask you this. So I've been watching Shoresy, and you got the three gyms, the native guys, and they do a lot of communication with their lips, with the pushing of the lips together. Is that how you guys do it on the ice, or is it a little bit TV drama?
That's just like, how would you say it? How they speak with their, like the Crees will say they point with their
Okay.
lips over there, or like I
Okay.
guess on there they point like that's the guy you're going, right? And but yeah, so there's like, yeah, a little bit of TV drama thing, but yeah, I do know the Crees do a little lip pointing. Respect to
Okay.
Cree. I'm half Cree, and yeah, we like to tease him about that kind of stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So you're half Cree. Is there a big competition between the native, like all the different, like, is it tribes? Is it clan? Like, I don't know exactly the PC clans, tribes, whatever. Is there a big competition between you guys?
There is definitely, you see it in sports. You see a lot of the, like, adrenaline take over, and you actually do see a lot more fights in the native hockey circuit. And to be honest, I'm banned from playing hockey in Alberta. So that's the
Okay.
reason why I play sanctioned hockey, is because I'm not allowed to. So that kind of goes like the world outside native hockey. They're pretty soft, and
Sure.
the native, like, you have the most skilled guys, most tough guys, and but yeah, it's different. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, my last question I asked somebody the first time I interview them. Do you remember the first time you got in a street fight? The first time you punched somebody in anger, not a relative?
Yeah, I do.
Can
Yeah.
you tell us about it?
I was actually at our Saskatchewan celebrations, and my little brothers came running out of nowhere and says, "Hey, this guy took the weasel, a weasel. So we take the pelt of it and they dance with
Okay.
it. Anyway, this kid took the weasel, and I said, all right, let's go get it."
I think you might have got a phone
Oh, there you
call.
go.
Oh,
Comes
let me
up
see.
and he,
There you are. You're good. You're
all
back.
right. Okay, yeah, this guy comes up and he's like, what you gonna do? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I gonna do? He ends up squaring up, and I'm like, all right. He comes, he throws a kick, and I laugh. And I was like, is that all you got? And he tries to throw another one, and I hammer him, and he goes down. And by then, security and cops were all there, and they were trying to kick us all out. And I was like, I just defended myself. This guy came at me, and they're like, no, you got to go. And they end up talking it out and letting me stay for the celebration. But I mean, that I can remember that being my first real fight, and I think I was like 13, and that guy was like 20 or something. And he was a big guy. Like I said, I was
Yep.
6'3", 13, right? So it wasn't anything.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to this. I plan on going to this thing. Do you have a message for the fans, your people, sponsors, anything you'd like to get out before we call it a night there, Big Snake?
First of all, I just want to thank my family for being behind me in all of this, especially my wife for being my biggest support. She comes to the gym with me all the time, and there's never never a negative thing out of it. And when I mentioned my boys too, they were so excited that Dad's going back to Ice Wars, and that gave me more of a like, let's do this, let's get it done, and I got this. But yeah, and then Mom and Dad for letting me take the fight, and then my brothers for being my training team. They're behind me 100%. That's Cody, Robin, Big Snake, Reagan, Running Rabbit, Phoenix, Running Rabbit, Maddox, Running Rabbit. That's my team, and without them, I don't really think that the Chief would be here. And I really want to shout out them and shout out my sponsors, Heartbreak, Kess Blackwater, and the Mitchell boys. They were huge in all of this, and I want to make sure that I'm going there the best I've ever been. And right now I'm getting all the compliments, and I'm taking them all in because I know I'm definitely a way different Chief this time.
Awesome. Well, I really look forward to meeting you. It's going to be a great event, and you know what? Can't wait to have you on the show again.
For sure. I appreciate your time, and this is sick. I was excited to get on, and I'm glad we were able to touch bases and get it done.
For sure. All right, man. Have a great night.
Have a good one.